Hello, good evening. Welcome to all of you for our Sutta study session. And I would like to start the program today with our practice to the Buddha. And let me get started. Let's pay respect to the Buddha first. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Honor to him, the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the fully enlightened one. My utmost respect to the perfectly enlightened Samma Sambuddha, the noble doctrine of the Buddha, and the noble Mahasangha, the disciples of the Buddha. Hello everyone. Welcome to our Sutta discussion session. Today we are continuing with our Sutta study series, Majjhima Nikaya 10th Sutta, Satipaṭṭhāna Sutta. And today I want to continue with our Satipaṭṭhāna Sutta. And over here we have the number 8 of Satipaṭṭhāna Sutta. It's really amazing, like we have done so many parts of Satipaṭṭhāna Sutta, and I think it makes so much sense whatever we have done with the Satipaṭṭhāna Sutta. I'm happy, and today I want to touch base with a very important long session that we have been doing, the reflection on the repulsiveness of the body, and and the 9 symmetry contemplation. This is the one I want to complete today. I want to go through from the beginning to the end today. We have done mindfulness of breathing, postures of the body, mindfulness with clear comprehension, the reflection on the repulsiveness of the body, the reflection on the material elements, and now we have come to 9 symmetry contemplations. Let's go quickly to that. Okay, so Sivatikas, they are called Sivatikas, the section about the 9 charnel grounds, and very important that we. I thought as I could finish the entire translation so far with the Navasivatika Pabba, it's good to give a wrap up of all these things from the beginning. Let me do the chanting first, unless Susan wants to chant. Do you want to try chanting?
Just the Namo Tassa or?
No, can you see the Punacha Parang?
Oh, no. I think I'll do the English one if you want me to do so.
Sure. Okay. Punacha parang bhikkhave bhikkhu sayyathapi passeya sarirang sevadhikaya chadditang ekahamatang va dvihamatang va tihamatang va Uddhumatakang vinilakang vipubbakajatang so imameva kayang upasangharati ayampiko kayo evang dhammo evang bhavi evang anatitoti iti ajhatang va kaye kayanupassi viharati evam pikho bhikkhave bhikkhu kayanupassi viharati.
Moreover, monks, it's as if a monk might see a body thrown into a charnel ground, dead for 1 day, or dead for 2 days, or dead for 3 days, bloated, discolored, and having become quite rotten. He then compares it with his very own body, thinking, this body also has such a nature, has such a constitution, has not gone beyond this. Thus, he dwells contemplating the nature of the body in regards to himself. Or death.
Okay, so this is about the first section of the 9 channel grounds. Punacha param bhikkhave seyathapi passeya sarirang sivatikaya chadditang. So when the dead body is thrown to the channel ground after 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, and how it happens with the body when it is bloated, discolored, and became quite rotten. And then he can compare himself with his own body, looking at the others and also looking at his own body. And then that way he can contemplate more. And over here we have actually explained much more in detail. I will not go to them right away because we have already done that before. So I will go to the main section, Dutiyang Sivatikang now. Just to wrap up, because we have already covered this one before. Punacha parang bhikkhave bhikkhu seyathapi passeya sarirang sevatikaya chadditang kake hiva khajyamanang kulale hiva khajyamanang gijhe hiva khajyamanang kanke hiva khajyamanang Sunakhehi va khajyamanang vyaggehi va khajyamanang deepehi va khajyamanang sigalehi va khajyamanang vividehi va panakajatehi khajyamanang so imameva kayang pasangharati ayampiko kayo evang dhammo evang bhavi evang anatitoti iti ajhatang va kaye kayanupassi viharati evang pikho bhikkave bhikkho kaye kayanupassi viharati.
Moreover, monks, it is as if a monk might see a body thrown into a charnel ground, being eaten by crows, or being eaten by hawks, or being eaten by vultures, or being eaten by dogs, or being eaten by jackals, or being eaten by various kinds of worms. He then compares it with his very own body, thinking, this body also has such a nature, has such a constitution, has not gone beyond this. Thus he dwells contemplating the nature of the body in regards to himself.
Okay, over here, the dead body is undergoing a different level. Kakehua Kajamanang. Now the dead body is thrown to the charnel ground and it is being eaten by the crows and Kulalehiwa Kajamanang and hawks and vultures and eaten by dogs and jackals and many other different kinds of animals. They keep eating the body and looking at that. So imameva kayang upasangharati. So the practitioner think of his own body, and then this is really another powerful practice. What happens to the body when it is being devoured by other various kinds of animals? Last few days, I had an opportunity to walk from New York to Washington, D.C. I didn't complete the entire journey, but I actually was able to participate beginning and the ending few days of the journey. It was truly amazing. And one day I saw when I was walking by the side of the road, there were many dead animals, deer, and sometime maybe knocked down by the cars, or also maybe I also saw like their bodies have been mutilated. So looks like some other animals have eaten already. The bodies were bit swollen, and yeah, it was amazing. I saw some hawks, and I saw some other animals too, dead animals a lot, especially with the human civilization. We can imagine how these things can happen to with the ongoing vehicles always, and and the animals don't know how to cross the roads. So poor animals are actually meeting with accidents all the time. And so I had an opportunity to transfer mats to them while walking. And I also thought, oh, this is also can happen to any of us. The body, the impermanence of the body, and the death, the certain death can come to us anytime, anywhere. So this Dutiya Sivatika channel ground place Kakehiva Kajamanang, eaten by crows, Kulalehiva Kajamanang, eaten by hawks, Gijjehiva Kajamanang, eaten by watchers, and Kankehiva Kajamanang, eaten by herons, Sunakehiva Kajamanang, eaten by dogs, Byagehiva Kajamanang, eaten by leopards, Deepihiva Kajamanang, eaten by tigers, and Sigalehiva Kajamanang, eaten by jackals, Suanehiva Kajamanang, eaten by dogs, Vividehiva Panakajatehi Kajamanang, or being eaten by various kinds of worms. So different kinds of worms. So when the body get sullen, and also they're different after some time rotten, different kinds of worms and all can come up from the body itself, and so they will also eat the body itself. So imameva kayang upasangharati, he then compares it with his very own body, thinking, I am piko kayo, this body also. Evam Dhammo has such a nature. Evam Bhavi has such a constitution. Evam Anatito iti has not gone beyond this. No one can overcome this situation. Iti ajhatang va kaye kayanupasi viharati. In this way, in regard to the body, in regard to this body, he abides contemplating the body internally. So ajjhatang vakaya, he dwells contemplating the nature of the body in the body internally. That means regarding himself. Bahiddha vakaya kayanupasse viharati means he contemplates the nature of the body in the body externally regarding others. So he can switch between himself and the others. Ajjhata bahiddhava kaya kayanupasse viharati. From time to time, he can also dwells contemplating the nature of the body in the body internally and externally. That means regarding himself and the other. Samudaya vayadhammanupasse viharati, kayasmin viharati means he dwells contemplating the phenomenon of origination in the body. And samudaya means origination or arising. Vayadhammanupasse means he contemplates the phenomenon of passing away or dissolution of the body. Samudaya vaya means both arising and passing away of the body. And attikayo itiva panasa Satipaṭṭhāna hoti. So, or else mindfulness that there is a body but not a being is established in him. So it's really important when he practices, he sees that the body is there, but not really a permanent being. Is this me, mine, I, me, myself? That notion is not constructed in him. That is the most beautiful thing, beautiful lesson that the practitioner learn through this process. And also, when you see that natural process of getting the body, so many, undergoing so many different ways of deteriorating and being eaten by so many other animals and all, then you will have no attachment to that, to the extent necessary for bare knowledge, or that will be for the development of the knowledge and the mindfulness to the full. And then craving and attachment and ditti, dogmatic view, will not be there with him. Anisitocha viharati. Nachakinchi loke upadhyati. He will live in this world without any clinging to that. That's really a very powerful lesson again. Evampiko bhikkave, amongst this way to bhikkhu kaye kayanupasse viharati. This is another way of monks dwelling, contemplating the nature of the body in the body. So kaya and kayanupassana, again, we continue to practice that way. And then we go to Tatiyang Sivatikang. This is the Tatiya Sivatika. Let me chant this one too. Punacha parang bhikkhave bhikkhu seyathapi passeya sarirang sivatikaya chaddhitang atthikang atthika sankalikang samangsalohitam naharu sangbandhang soimameva kayang upasangharati ayampi ko kayo evang dhammo evang bhavi evang anatitoti iti ajjhatang va kaye kayanupasse viharati evam phiko bhikkave bhikkho kaye kayanupasse viharati.
Bhante, do you want me to read the English one?
Yes, please.
Moreover, amongst, it is as if a monk might see a body thrown into a charnel ground, a skeleton with flesh and blood, bounded together by tendons. He then compares it with his very own body, thinking, this body also has such a nature, such a constitution, has not gone beyond this. Thus he dwells contemplating the nature of the body in regards to himself.
Yes, I think let me share the link with you first. I think it is here. Okay, so this is the link. All right. Now, punacha parang bhikkhave seyathapi passeya sarirang sivathikaya chaditang atthika sankalikang samangsa lohitang naharu sambandhang so imameva kayang upasangharati ayampi kayo evang dhammo evang bhavi evang anatitoti iti ajhattang va kaye kayanupassi viharati. Now, the practicing monk, he knows the body, what happens to the body here when it is in the charnel ground after some days with flesh and blood, bound together by tendons. He then compares it with his very own body. He can see that the flesh and body is connected to this skeleton. So this body has also such a nature, such a constitution, and no one can overcome this situation. So it's again a very important lesson, and he contemplates. He contemplates on his own body, and over here in details, the analysis punacha param bhikkhave. Moreover, monks, bhikkhu seyathapi passeya sarirang. It is as if a monk might see a body. Sivathikaya chaditang, thrown into a charnel ground. Attika sankalikang samangsa lohitang naharu sambandang. Atti means, Attika sankalika means the skeleton. And samangsa lohita, mansa means flesh and lohita is blood. And samansa lohita means with flesh and blood. Naharu sambandham means with naharu is the veins. So naharu sambandham, they are together bound by tendons. So imang eva kayang upasangharati, he then compares it with his very own body, thinking, Ayampiko kayo, this body also. Evan Dhammo has such a nature. Evan Bhavi has such a constitution. Evan Anatitoti has not gone beyond this. This body also is subject to a situation like that. Iti ajatang kaya kayanupassi viharati. In this way, in regard to the body, he abides contemplating the body internally. So he can internally contemplate the nature of the body regarding himself. And also, bahidhava kaya kayanupassi viharati. He dwells contemplating the nature of the body in the body externally. And that means regarding others also. Let's say, like if you have a strong sense of lust, thinking of these things can really control your strong defilements like that. And ajhata bahidhava, then internally and externally also you can think of it that way. Samudaya dhamma anupassi, then you can think of contemplate the origination or arising of the body like that. Vaya dhamma anupassi, you can think of the passing away of the body, contemplate the passing away of the body. Samudaya vaya dhamma anupassi, both arising and passing away of the body. And attikayo iti, vapanasa satipaṭṭhāna, mindfulness is there. So there is a body, but not a being. This is really important to remember. And then So he also will have no clinging to anything, and he will have a very good, powerful contemplation without any attachment. Evam piko bhikkave bhikkhu kaye kayanupassi viharati. In this way also, the monk contemplates the nature of the body in the body. Now let's go to the Chatutta Sivatika here. Punacha parang bhikkave bhikkhu sayyathapi passeya sarirang sivatikaya chadditang atthika sankalikang ningmang salohita makhitang naharu sangbandhang soimameva kayang upasangharati ayang pikho kayo Evang dhammo evang bhavi evang anatitoti iti ajhatang va kaye kayanupassi viharati evam pikho bhikkave bhikkhu kaye kayanupassi viharati.
Moreover, monks, it is as if a monk might see a body thrown into a charnel ground, a skeleton without flesh and blood, bounded together by tendons. He then compares it with his very own body, thinking, this body also has such a nature, has such a constitution, has not gone beyond this. Thus he dwells, contemplating the nature of the body in the body in regard to himself.
Okay, so the analysis of the fourth channel ground explains just pretty much almost the same template, and only thing is the difference is without flesh and blood, bound together by tendons. So skeleton without flesh and blood, bound together by tendons. Attika sankalikang nimmansalohita makhitang naharu sambandhang. Over here, no flesh and blood, but bound together by tendons. Punacha param bhikkave, moreover monks, bhikkhu sayyathapi passeya sarirang. It's as if a monk might see a body, sivatikang, sivatikaya chadditang, thrown into the charnel ground. Atthika sankalikang nimmansalohita makhitang naharu sambandhang, a skeleton without flesh and blood, bound together by tendons. So imameva kayang upasangharati, he then compares it with his own very own body, thinking, ayampiko kayo, this body also, evam dhammo, has such a nature, evam bhavi, has such a constitution, evam anatitoti, this body also cannot overcome, cannot go beyond this nature. Iti ajhatang va kaye kayanupassi viharati. This way, in regard to the body, internally, and bahidhava kaye kayanupassi viharati, externally, ajhata bahidhava, that means both internally and externally, he contemplates the body. And then samudaya dhammanupassi, vaya dhammanupassi, and samudaya vaya dhammanupassi. That means arising and passing away, and both arising and passing away of the body, he contemplates on that. Attikayo iti panasa Satipaṭṭhāna hoti. So this way he has a strong mindfulness. He develops a very strong mindfulness, and without craving and without dogmatic view. This is the other important thing. And then also without any attachment, without any clinging, without any upadana, he can contemplate in this world. He can live in this world without any attachment. This is another contemplating the nature of the body by the monks. And then we go to the Panchaka Sivatika over here. Okay, let me chant this. Punacha parang bhikkhave bhikkhu seyathapi passeya sarirang Sivathikaya chadditang attika sankalikang apagata mangsalohitang naharu sangbandhang soimameva kayang pasangharati ayang pikho kayo evang dhammo evang bhavi evang anatitoti Iti ajhattang va kaye kayanupassī viharati evam pikho bhikkave bhikkho kaye kayanupassī viharati.
Moreover, monks, it is as if a monk might see a body thrown into a charnel ground, a skeleton no longer having flesh and blood, bounded together by tendons. He then compares it with his very own body, thinking, this body also has such a nature, has such a constitution, has not gone beyond this. Thus he dwells contemplating the nature of the body in regard to himself.
Yes. So again, regarding himself, and he thinks of it. In the analysis, again, it says just like the one before. Here we have one thing special in the fifth channel ground, and that is the atti sankalikang apagata mansalohitang, a skeleton no longer having flesh and blood, but bound together by tendons, no flesh and blood. Still, the skeleton is bound together. So imameva kayang upasangharati. So that way also the monk contemplates. And thinking thus, he can also internally and externally, and both internally and externally think, contemplate, and also he can think of the contemplate on the arising and passing away, and both arising and passing away of the body. And then also he has a very strong mindfulness established in him, plus without any attachment and without any dogmatic view, and also without any clinging, he can live in this world. This is another important practice by the monk. And next one is Chatta Sivatikang. This one is a little longer one. Also another powerful teaching. Let us pay attention to that now. Punacha parang bhikkave bhikkhu seyathapi passeya sarirang Sivathikaya chadditang attikani apagata sambandhani disa vidisa vikkitani anyena hattaktikang anyena padattikang anyena gopakattikang anyeti anyena jangattikang anyena huruttikang anyena katittikang anyena pasukattikang anyena pittittikang anyena kandhattikang anyena givattikang anyena hanukattikang anyena dantattikang anyena sisakatahang soimameva kayang upasangharati ayampiko kayo Evaṁ Dhammo evaṁ bhavi evaṁ anatitoti iti ajjataṁ va kāye kāyanupassī viharati evaṁ pikho bhikkave bhikkhu kāye kāyanupassī viharati.
Moreover, monks, it is as if a monk might see a body thrown into a charnel ground, with bones no longer bounded together, scattered in all directions, with a hand bone here, with a foot bone there, with a knee bone here, with a thigh bone there, with a hip bone here and a bone of the back there, with the skull here. Then he compares it with his very own body, thinking, this body also has such a nature, has such a constitution, has not gone beyond this. Thus he dwells, contemplating the nature of the body in the body in regard to himself.
Yeah, so Chatta Sivatika, or the sixth jhana ground, is a little lengthy one, but also it's really very, very important. And over here, the monk contemplating, he thinks about the body and what happens when the body is tendon, bound together. But over here, attikani, apagata sambandhani. Now, with the bones no longer bound together. Now, bones are not bound together, but rather scattering. Disa, vidisa, vikitane, scattered in all directions. Anyena hattatika. So, the hand bone is here, anyena padatikang, with the foot bone there, anyena gopakatikang, and the ankle bone here, and anyena jangatikang, knee bone there, anyena urutikang, uru is thigh, uru, the thigh bone here, anyena katitikang, the pelvis bone there, anyena pitatikang, with the spine bone here, anyena kantatikang, with the kanta is actually over here, this one, that is there, and anyena pasukatikang, with the ribs bone here, and anyena uratikang. So uru is thigh and ura is the shoulder. So uratikang, shoulder bone there, anyena kandatikang, shoulder bone, and ura and ura is actually the chest, and kanda is the shoulder, and katatikang, I had to change that one, katatikang. So there are some more over here, and in Sia here means actually in some versions only we find. So I had to find the meanings in other different ways for these translations. Anyena giva is the throat. Anyena hanuka, chin, and then dantatikang is bone, the teeth, and anyena sisakatahang, the skull. So they are all scattered everywhere. Now, after a while, actually, see, the monks, they keep practicing, they keep contemplating, they keep observing naturally what happens to this body after in the course of time. Earlier it was bound by the tendons, and later on it is scattered all over. So imameva kayang upasanghati. So thinking, he contemplates his own body. Ajatang bahidang, ajata bahidda, himself, others, and also both himself and others. He thinks of them, and really, really important. Samudaya dhammanupassi, vaya dhammanupassi, samudaya vaya dhammanupassi. He thinks of the arising and the passing away, and also the arising and passing away of the body. And atikayo apanasa asa satipaṭṭhāna. When you think of, like, when you keep practicing, you keep looking, observing, then where can you have an attachment, a dogmatic view, a craving like this? It's amazing. And so a very strong mindfulness also be established in it. And the monks who practice this thing, this Sivatika, the channel ground practice, can have a very powerful contemplation, mindfulness established in them as well. And then also definitely the monks cannot have any more attachment or dogmatic view or clinging about the rupa. He will feel so comfortable in living with the world without any attachment. This is the whole contemplating on this channel ground practice is a really very, very helpful one. So the Sattama Sivatika, let me go to this chanting. Punacha parang bhikkhave bhikkhu seyathapi phasseya sarirang sevatekaya chadditang atthikani setani sankhavanna panidbhani imameva kayang upasangharati ayampi ko khayo evang dhammo evang bhavi evang anatitoti iti ajhatang va khaye khayanupassi viharati evam pikho bhikkave bhikkho khaye khayanupassi viharati.
Moreover, monks, it is as if a monk might see a body thrown into a charnel ground, having white bones, like the color of a concha. He then compares it with his very own body, thinking, this body also has such a nature, has such a constitution, has not gone beyond this. Thus he dwells contemplating the nature of the body in the body in regard to himself.
Yes, now the body, the skeleton becomes even more kind of a polishing. The bones like a color of a conch in the course of time. And it's really interesting too. Setani Sankha Vanna. Sankha means conch, and Vanna is the color. Sankha Vanna Panibhani, having white bones like the color of a conch. This way the monk contemplates on his own body and also the other's body, and also internally, externally, both internally and externally, and then arising and passing away, both arising and passing away, and then strong mindfulness will be established in him. And without any clinging, without any craving, without any dogmatic view, he will know that this is just a body and not a being. No, I know me, myself, nothing is there. So again, the more he focus on this, more and more he will be able to get closer to the realization of the Dhamma. Yes. So we will go to the Attika, Attama Sivatika now. Punacha parang bhikkave bhikkho seyathapi passeya sarirang sevatikaya chadditang aktikani punjaka jatani punjakitani tero asikani imameva kayang pasangharati ayampi ko kayo evang dhammo evang bhavi evang anatitoti. Iti ajhatang va kaye kayanupassī viharati Bahidhava kaye kayanupassī viharati Evam piko bhikkhave bhikkhu kaye kayanupassī viharati.
Moreover, monks, it is as if a monk might see a body thrown into a charnel ground, a heap of bones more than a year old. He then compares it with his very own body, thinking, this body also has such a nature, has such a constitution, has not gone beyond this. Thus he dwells, contemplating the nature of the body in regard to himself.
Yes, I remember like in US you have several places where the bodies are just scattered and they are for other forensic purposes. They have established those places, but the body is naturally decayed, and they do a lot of experiments on this. And the monks practice here, his experiment is completely different, and this one is really again an amazing practice. Here he investigates into every bits and pieces of this body, and then also not building his ego, not building his um, attachment or grasping, but also not having any kind of I, me, myself for this body. And he lives in this body. He compares himself with the others, and he thinks and he knows and he realizes that the very nature of the body, the impermanent nature, anicca, and the dukkha and the anatta nature, the phenomenon of this, he will very clearly understand that as well. And over here, we see attikani, punjakitani, theravada. Now the heap of bones are more than a year old, and so they are getting slowly, gradually, even the bones are getting decayed, and some of them can sustain for a while, but many of even the bones, although they are really strong, they can still be gone as well. The monks think Ajatangva Kai and Bahidhava Kai, Ajata Bahidhava Kai, internally, externally, both internally and externally, he contemplates. And then he contemplates the nature of the arising and the passing away, both arising and passing away. And then also mindfulness will be established in him. Really very amazing. So this eighth stage is just another revelation into his investigation into the dead body. And we go to now the last one, the ninth chana ground. Punacha parang bhikkave bhikkhu seyathapi passeya sarirang sevatikaya chadditang attikani putini chunnaka jatani imameva kayang upasangharati ayam piko kayo evang dhammo evang bhavi evang anatitoti iti ajhattang va kaye kayanupassī viharati evam piko bhikkave bhikkho kaye kayanupassī viharati.
Moreover, monks, it is as if a monk might see a body thrown into a charnel ground, rotten bones that have become like powder. He then compares it with his very own body, thinking, this body also has such a nature, has such a constitution, has not gone beyond this. Thus he dwells, contemplating the nature of the body in the body in regard to himself.
Yes. Now he realizes even that very, very strong body, the bones can become powder. And again, coming to the very nature, nothing is permanent in this world. And though the body, the bones can survive really long time, still even the bones can become powder, and it'll become evaporate. It'll disappear into nothingness one day or the other. So the monk has a great opportunity to learn about the sheer impermanence, the glorious uncertainty of life and the body. And this way he will be able to focus more on his strengthening his mindfulness to a greater extent. I would still like to reiterate our constant repeating of the Buddha's teaching about the three massive structures: the great earth, the great ocean, and the great mountain. The Buddha said they are the biggest structures of this earth, but they will also be gone one day or the other. They will come into thin air, disappear forever, no matter what. No matter how deep the ocean is, that will become completely gone one day. And no matter how big this earth is, that will be gone one day forever. And you will not even see any trace of the existence of this. And same thing with the great mountains. And yet, our ignorance, our avidya, our delusion will be there, fooling us all the time and taking us back to the samsara. And there will be no mercy when it comes to the avidya. Avidya will still fool us, and avidya will not be tired of taking us again and again and again back to the samsara. And we will be fooled, we will be cheated, we will be carried away by so many hundreds and hundreds of defilements. So practicing Sivatika, the channel ground, really helps the monk to come to the reality, to understand the reality, and eventually get out of this wrong notion of I, me, mind. And also when he thinks that even the bone can become a powder, Attikani, Putini, Chunnaka Jatani. Chunna means the powder. So Putini, rotten powder. And no one wants to keep the bone of humans. They are so scared of human bone powder and ash or something. Nobody likes to keep them. Although we really like to keep the Buddha's relic, that will be a blessing to us. But other people don't like, other humans remains. They feel very awkward and very scary. And so, see, the people who have been so much close to us and even don't want to keep any of those ash or remains or anything so close to them anymore. And yeah, it is those disgusting. And that is the very nature of life, and the very strong, hard bone will become a rotten powder as well. So the monk has again the chance to contemplate internally, externally, both internally and externally, and then again arising and passing away, both arising and passing away, and then he will be able to um, um, establish a strong mindfulness, and also uh, without any attachment, craving, and also without any dogmatic view. And then also Nachakinchi loke upadhyate. He abides independent, not clinging to anything in the world. Or else, in this world of beings, he does not cling to anything, any form, rupa, vedana, sanya, sankara, vijnana, or chakku, sota, gana, jivha, kaya, mana. This form, the sound, the taste, the smell, and the touch, and the thoughts or anything, he will not be cling to anymore. And evam piso ko bhikkhave, monks this way too, bhikkhu kaya kaya anupassī viharati, monk dwells contemplating the nature of the body in the body. So this is the Navama Sivatika, or the ninth channel ground. And with that we conclude Nava Sivatika Pabba, and then later on we will go to the Vedana Anupassana. So far, Kaya Anupassana we have done, completed Kaya Anupassana. That's a long sutta, the Satipaṭṭhāna Sutta. That is why Satipaṭṭhāna Sutta is so important. And that is why it helps us so much. Such a detailed, analytical, in-depth study here we have to investigate into our own bodily practice and contemplation about the body. And later on we will talk about the Vedana Anupassana from next week onward. Okay, with that I would like to conclude today, and if you have any question,
Okay, time
you're
for
welcome.
question.
Okay.
Bante, I heard that when our eyes see something, our eyes is born, and as soon as we see it, it also then dies. And this goes on and on. Whatever we see, our eyes are born, and then it also dies straight away. Same with the sound and touch. Is this a form of meditation for impermanence as well?
You mean when you see the eye?
When the eye see anything, when the eye, the chaku, sees something, anything, as soon as it make contact with the sight, the eyes, the chaku is born, and also immediately the chaku dies. And this repeats over and over. The same with sound. As soon as we hear a sound, the ears is born, and then the ears dies. Is this the senses at least dies? Is this an idea of impermanence that is very important?
I think yes, it is I think it was very good teaching that you learned from here in the Navasaivatika Pabba. We see now eye is nothing compared to the bones, and such a strong one bone is also gone, right? So the eye or the other skin or the hair, many things like nail, all those teeth, all those things will be subject to decay and impermanent. And no matter how much we try, it's not going to be permanent. So most important thing is for us to realize the truth. And just like the Chakupala, Bante, big monk Chakupala story, Dhammapada, if you remember, how important the monk's sheer determination, and that it did not deter him from stopping meditation. He was advised by the doctors to lay down and have the ointment on his eyes while lay down on the floor, but he didn't want to do it. He thought, my eyes will be nothing, but more important thing is my practice. Learning the Dhamma, practicing the Dhamma, opening the Dhamma eye is much more powerful, much more meaningful than this just flesh eye.
But Bante, this one is like instant, our sight It's born as soon as we see something, but it also dies straight away. So this is instant, like fraction of a second. And
Yeah,
and this is part of impermanence. Is it a training part
yeah,
of
yeah.
impermanence?
Like everything that appears will disappear without any trace whatsoever. Everything appears and it will be gone into oblivion and without tracing anything. This is definitely part of the impermanence. Like when we wink our eyes, right? We close our eyes and open it, and breathing in and out, like sun and the moon coming up and down, rising and setting. All these things happen, and flowers blooming, decay, same thing, life, born and gone. So everything is like that. And every millisecond, our body is subject to change. Millions and millions of cells of the body will be born again and again, dying again and again. Same thing. Same thing with the eyes too. When you look at, you open your eyes, you see many, many, many things, rupas. And then again, they are gone. Very interesting. You see something in front of you, and you see something in the back of you, and in the back of you also you have something, in the front of you also you have something. And so what is that? In the back of you, you have something that you think there is, maybe a door or a window or whatever, a wall. And so you think there is one, but that is actually in the past too, because that is, you learn from other people, you learn from your parents, teachers, elders. This is called wall, this is called this color, this is called this shape, and in front of also you have something, and that is the same. So eventually, in fact, we don't see anything. This is just a fabrication, uh, very momentary. Nothing is permanent, and nothing is real. In a way, nothing is real.
Sadhu, sadhu,
Okay.
sadhu.
Right. Thank you so much for your time and energy and participation. And we would like to see if we have any question. I think there was a question by someone in the YouTube. Is in contemplating rising and passing away, can you please kindly clarify how to contemplate rising? So when you contemplate rising, you can see how it is arising. Let's say you look at the body and breathing, for example. You can think of the breathing. Breathing happens and arising, and breathing goes. And the thoughts come and thought goes. And the body appears and body decays. And in the charnel grounds, we saw how the body decays. And it definitely helps us physically see that those things, and then compare it with yours. And then also you can see in many other ways when you want to practice the impermanent nature of the body. So I think it is important that everything in your life that you encounter in day-to-day basis, you will see so many wonderful things. Okay, Sudha, I think she was able to somehow connect. So contemplating rising and passing away. Can you please kindly clarify how to contemplate rising? Oh, that is the question. So, all right. I hope I could answer your question. And with that, we conclude today and looking forward to seeing you next time again. And thank you again. We also have some people joining, Sam and Sudha and Barspatya, and then also Ricky. Also, there is some weird nutty people also showing something. Yeah,
Hackers, they are called
yeah,
hackers.
yeah. They enjoy that. May they be well, happy, healthy too. Okay, so with that, we would like to conclude today. And may you be well, happy, healthy, safe wherever you are. And may the Buddha Dhamma Sangha bless you, help you, protect you, and guide you towards the right path. May all of us be able to open our Dhamma eye, live close to the Dhamma, and may all of us be able to attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. May all your departed ones be able to share this merit, receive this merit, be well, happy, healthy, safe, wherever they are. And may all of us, all of them, all sentient beings, including devas and other sentient beings, be able to attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Thinking thus, we conclude today with the chanting. Sabbitiyo vivajjantu sabbarogo vinassato mate bhavattu antarayo sukhe digghayuko bhava bhavatu sabba mangalang rakhantu sabba devata sabba buddhanubhavena sada sotti bhavantu te sabba dhammanubhavena sada sotti bhavantu te sabba sanghanubhavena sada sotti bhavantu te. Thank you again for joining us, and we would conclude today. And Sudha's question, we will take you this to the next week. Please ask the same question. Maybe we will try to answer you again. With that, we conclude. Thank you, and be well and happy and healthy.
Thank you, Bante.